Welcome to Same Spit, Different Face TV. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And it's free. So don't forget to spit on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification. Now, Diddy verdict came in, man, and in the matter of the U.S. versus Combs count one, juror 5 not guilty. Deputy, sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura, juror 5 not guilty. Deputy transportation for prostitution, juror 5 guilty. Deputy Jane sex trafficking, juror 5 not guilty. Deputy transportation for prostitution Jane, jury 5 guilty. And I don't really understand how he got found guilty for the transportation of prostitution, but obviously he wasn't the one paying, he wasn't the one making the calls. But a lot of times, I guess the jury probably looked at it, and transportation mean he was just getting them there. So I think that's murky, right? But the judge could actually give Diddy time served, and Diddy can actually get out of jail right now. It's no maximum sentence to this, but we have to understand that the judge could be influenced by some other people to give Diddy some long time. So we'll have to wait and see what happened for that. And the judge could be a person who like, yo, well, you know, he got found guilty on a transportation for prostitution. The judge could say maybe Diddy used violence to make these women transport themselves, and say even though they didn't feel like he did it under them pretenses, I feel like he used violence against them. So I'm gonna make an example out of him just to make sure that nobody else do this. But so if Diddy get more than 2 years, I definitely think he'll appeal what's going on and try to figure out a way to get out earlier. But anywhere between 2 years, I think he'll do that. Obviously, he happy he won't spend the rest of his life in jail. The most important part of this case is that the feds, if he would have got found guilty of racketeering, the RICO charge, they would have been able to take all of his assets. So the house in Star Island, his record, any type of liquor he got, any assets basically. So, you know, cars, houses, clothes, chains, publishing, record rights, all of that type of stuff. So they would have probably came into 500 million to $1 billion worth of assets just off of his music catalog. And then you got to look at the mansion that he can sell and all of that type of stuff. So he came up big. Once he didn't get found guilty of RICO, you kind of knew that every other charge was going to be small. And the thing is let's just say he would have not got found guilty of RICO, but he would have got found guilty of everything else. Well, at least he would have been able to keep all his assets, and money would have still been coming in while he was in jail, and his kids would have still been able to get the money. He still would have been able to put the business in other people's names and all of that type of stuff. So, I mean, it's a win. And when you think about he only got found guilty for transportation for prostitution, and like I said, that carried no minimum or no maximum. So the judge could give him time served, the judge could give him 2 years, the judge could give him 10 to 20 years. But I think with a case this big, and we have to understand that not only that, Diddy is black, Diddy is a mogul, Diddy do hip hop. So if the judge give him more than 2 to 5 years, or what's expected, which is time served, it's gonna be a lot of outrage, and the judge may even get in trouble later, because it was a lot of things that the judge did. Even though I believe that the judge is fair, I do believe that the judge was kind of influenced. And that's why I say on cases like these where you have high profile people, they like to put more experienced judges in place, but also they like to put judges with strong personalities and strong stances. And what do I mean by strong stances? They can't be swayed by the prosecution, and they can't be intimidated by the defense. And a lot of times when you see somebody like Brian Steele, somebody who's a multi-million-dollar lawyer, somebody who just beat a RICO, if you're not a judge who really know what you're talking about, really understand the law, really strong in your personality, he can tell you something and you can fold under it, because you'll be like, oh man, he just beat that RICO. You can almost be starstruck. And then if you the judge and you look at it from the perspective of like the feds, and you say, well, the feds must be right, because why would they pull these charges on them? And as a judge, you're supposed to be impartial, but a lot of judges feel like them and the prosecutor are on the same side, when the judge should be sitting up there as a neutral party, just basically getting all the information, and when it's time to do his sentence or time to make a ruling, he make it based on the law and make it based on what's fair and what's logical. But a lot of times the judge sit up there and they be on the prosecutor side. But long story short, man, it was a what would you call it? It was be a 2-5 win or whatever you call that. Well, a 5-2 win, my bad. So he ended up winning it. And he'll get to go back to his life at some point. And at 55, if I'm Diddy, when I get out, the first thing Diddy need to do is get with some type of domestic violence program. He need to start donating money to like women's shelters. He also need to start going to some type of therapy, and he need to be in therapy publicly. Like, he need to let people know that he's going to therapy. He need to have paparazzi taking pictures of him going into therapy. He need to go into some type of drug recovery program. And if he does all of this when he get out within like the next year or so, obviously spend some time with his kids, his family, but do that within like the next 3 to 6 months, society will accept him back, because they'll say, wow, he's doing so much good that we can't go against what he really doing. And then the next thing he would need to do in the next year or two, he would need to use his money, his resources, his power, his influence to try to make some changes to the RICO charges. And one thing about the RICO charges that a lot of, we saw Fonnie Willis try to use it. We saw them try to use it against Donald Trump, if I'm not mistaken. And now they tried to use it against Diddy. And the biggest reason they end up using it is because when you go to court for like regular stuff, right, they have to prove without a reasonable doubt that you did those things if you go to a state case, right? But if you go to a RICO case, they don't have to necessarily prove without a reasonable doubt. They just have to be able to prove that you had knowledge of it, prior knowledge before or prior knowledge after of it. Or they just have to prove the intent was to do the thing. So let's just say if you going on a trial with a bunch of your friends or something like that, and then the prosecutors say that the intent, that they went there that night with the intention to kill that person, even though they never fired off a shot. Well, you can get found guilty with the intention of going there to kill somebody, and everybody on that case, all 10 of y'all, all 20 of y'all, can get found guilty of RICO. And because it's a RICO, a charge that would go to state and probably would get you 5 to 10 years, now the feds can give you 30, 50 years or life. So that's the thing that Diddy need to work on, to not only improve his image, but also improve the system, because a lot of cases like this, them being able to just try it and just throw the blanket RICO over there. And the reason they throw the RICO over there is because they don't really want to do the work. And when we see what happened at this trial, we see they were underprepared. We see that they didn't go in here with as much information as a lot of us thought. And the last thing, hey man, and I might have said this already, but I gotta say it again, man. If I'm the feds, anything that Lil Rod does, I'm sending him to jail for 30 years, because he basically just embarrassed them. He made them look foolish. Lil Rod is the one. So obviously Cassie lawsuit made them look a little more into it. But once Lil Rod, and the feds even said it, once Lil Rod filed his lawsuit, that was their time to get that's how they ended up getting a search warrant to be able to go in Diddy's house and Star Island and all those other places. So without Lil Rod lying, the feds would have never even brought this case up. They would have left it to the state. So they look foolish based on Lil Rod. And then the feds interviewed Lil Rod 5 times, and they found out that he wasn't a credible witness, but they had put so much information out around this case, and they had put so much money and resources into this case, and they had put media stuff into this case, that they would look foolish if they didn't go forward with the charges. So against a better thought process, they decided to go forward with the case. So yeah, and a lot of people who was out here saying that, you know, Diddy was a sex trafficker. A lot of people who was out here who was saying Diddy was a PDF. A lot of people was out here saying that they were just saying a lot of things about Diddy. They are now liable. So when you look at I think Tubi, they have a documentary about Diddy, calling him a monster and calling him different things. I think you got Hulu that did one, and if I'm not mistaken, Netflix did one, and then we also have 50 Cent, who I believe did a documentary. And if he didn't do a documentary, he said a lot of things about Diddy being guilty and doing this and things about kids. So now all of those people with him being found not guilty are liable for defamation of character, because they said a lot of things about him that's not true. And that's why you have to be and that's why you have to be careful what you say about people when they're going through legal trouble, because it could look one way, but then when you go through the whole process, it could look another way. And when you see the prosecutor on stand and they talking to Cassie, and Cassie seemed mild-mannered, and she's crying and she's saying he made me do this and he made me do that, well, that sounds good, right? But then when Diddy defense team go up there and they cross-examine her and they find out that Cassie was at the house with Diddy while she was with her now husband, and she FaceTimed him while Diddy was hiding basically in the other room, and she had a full conversation with him. Now you start to see, oh, Cassie isn't a victim. When the recording come out where Cassie tells somebody she'll kill them and she'll get rid of them, and she tell them, she don't say Diddy name, but she say that Diddy will help get rid of them. So when you start seeing that, and you start seeing that not only did Cassie deal with Diddy, but she was dealing with Kid Cudi at the same time. And not only was she dealing with Kid Cudi, she was dealing with the trainer. And then they tried to make it seem like Diddy extorted her mama for $50,000. But then when you actually get the defense up there, you see that Diddy was trying to get his $50,000 back because he paid $50,000 to the trainer, and then Cassie started dating the trainer. And Diddy told Cassie in the recording, listen, you can leave, but you can have the trainer. I don't care about that. I just want my money back. I paid for the trainer. Because who wants to pay for a trainer for somebody and they having sex with them or sleeping with them? So a lot of people, I expect, now it could be a case where Diddy might let a lot of this stuff go and he may feel like he blessed to have beat it. But when you Diddy, and we've seen how Diddy act in the past, Diddy may come out and he may be ready to go to war with everybody who wrote him off and everybody who tried to ruin his reputation. And one last thing I'll say about this, when we look at all of the stuff that came out about Diddy and the media, only about 20% of it was true, right? And that's one of the games that the feds was trying to play. They were trying to play the media game where you put out so much bad stuff and negative stuff about a person that a person may say, you know what, I don't want my kids to have to hear this stuff about me. I don't want my girlfriend from California to find out that I was still dealing with Cassie. I don't want Gina to find out that I bought Young Miami a new Porsche. So they try to play on stuff like that, and they hope that people will plead out. But they offered Diddy 15 years. And so Diddy is like, wait, y'all offering me 15 to 30 years, which means when I go up in front of the parole board in 7 years, the parole board got the right to say I'm not rehabilitated and hold me for 2 more years, and then 2 more years and 2 more years. And then we look up, I'm 80 years when I get out of jail. And Diddy just said, listen, whatever y'all gonna put out about me, y'all just gonna have to embarrass me. And I'm sure he sat down with his kids first and told them, listen, y'all about to hear some things about me in the media. Some of the stuff gonna be true, some of the stuff not. Some of the stuff is gonna be embarrassing. Some of the stuff gonna be flat out lies. But what y'all have to understand is that I love y'all, and I'm going to court, and they trying to embarrass me. They trying to ruin our family name and our legacy. But I'm going to court to fight for my family name and legacy, because I'm not guilty of the stuff they're accusing me of. And so, hey man, at the end of the day, this was probably the second biggest case in U.S. history, and it'll be the second biggest case based on like Young Thug, then his, and then we would have to say something equivalent would be the OJ Simpson case. So hopefully Diddy get out and be a better person though. You know, he did a lot of stuff. He done did a lot of stuff to a lot of people. And because of the things he did and the way he treated people and the way he acted, that's what got him in this situation in the first place. But just because he treated people bad, he may have stole people publishing, he may have lied to people, he may have but even when you look at a lot of the stuff, when I'm following the case, he didn't lie to none of the women. He only person he was lying to at first was Cassie, but then he started telling Cassie, like, listen, this is the type of lifestyle I'm into, and if you don't want to be into this, you can go somewhere else. But as soon as he met Young Miami, he told her he got a bunch of women. As soon as he met 50 Cent baby mama, he told her he got a bunch of women. So he didn't really lie to them in that perspective. But I mean, just like the way he lied to some of his artists and the way he did them bad with the contracts and stuff like that. But he got found not guilty. If you're new to the channel and want more celebrity and hip-hop content, hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the subscribe button, you're a part of the Spit Squad. So hit the like button and drop the flex emoji in the comments. And for any Diddy videos you probably missed, go to the Diddy playlist in the end screen. Check out my original Chicago hood movie in the end screen, No Time to Play Fair. If you into sneakers, you a sneakerhead, you love seeing the new Jordans, Pumas, whatever it may be, subscribe to Kicking It with Fairplay 2333. If you trying to follow me on my basketball journey, my weightlifting and fitness journey, and also be inspired to get back on your fitness journey, subscribe to Fairplay, Flex, and Fadeaway. Also, any of these pages I just named, you can also find them on TikTok or Instagram.